I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we tackle a topic often overlooked yet vital for every marriage: sexual intimacy. We're taking a look at Sam Boucher's amazing book. It is called Living in Endless Love. It provides couples with a thoughtful research guide to understanding the role of intimacy in strengthening the marital bond. This book offers practical advice on how to revive love, heal relationships, and create deeper, more unified connections in marriage. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put him in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support authors like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his amazing book. The links are below this interview. Sam, great to see you here today on Spotlight.
Well, thank you, Mr. Crawford. It's so exciting to be here. Thank you.
Exciting to have you on the show. This is an important book to help strengthen the bonds of people in love, keep that connection strong, keep the communication strong. Tell us what your inspiration was when you and your wife decided to write this book, Living in Endless Love.
Wow, that we could go on the whole time about that.
Yeah.
I will try to be succinct here.
Sure.
We were married, my wife and I were married for 15 years. We grew up in small town in the Western United States. We literally knew nothing about intimacy, about sex, as we were growing up. It was pretty much a shunned topic. We grew up in a deeply Christian society. And so when we got married, we didn't know. I mean, we knew the very basics, and that was it. After married for 15 years, we had all five of our kids. We read some books about it and finally began to learn. As we did that, an amazing thing happened, and our relationship, even though before it was good and wonderful, became closer, because we could communicate on topics that were very, very difficult. And so our communication grew, our ability to understand one another and be more empathetic grew. And that began about a 8, 9 year process of me just reading books and articles and websites and everything that there was about sexual intimacy and how this works. And in that process, I was able to glean out information, because I remember actually reading an entire book and ripping out chapters, being like, this is not for me, this is not for us. But inside that book, there would be something that was important, and that's what we would focus on. And so this book is a compilation of all of those years of research, of all of those little bits of information, so people don't have to go out there and find it themselves. They don't have to wade through 8 or 9 years of research. It's all there. And we wrote it in a step-by-step process of helping people to understand one another and build that communication.
And I think what's important also is communication's important because it can be a difficult topic for people to talk about. There's discomfort. But intimacy, that's the key word here. There is
Yes.
sex, but the sexual intimacy can be quite different, right?
Absolutely true. The very first section of my book is called Intimacy and Sex. We use the terms interchangeably all the time, but they are not the same term. Intimacy is defined as a very close personal relationship. It involves knowing history about a person. So you may have an intimate relationship with a coworker that you share very personal details with him, and that's wonderful. Sex is intercourse. And the key here is to make and understand how to make our sexual time together with our spouses intimate, in terms of building that relationship from one step to another, to one that's better, and moving that relationship forward.
What's your best advice to a couple that has difficulty communicating about intimacy?
That is a great question. I think uh, I think that's every couple, actually, and in a lot of ways, because our society is so blown apart about sex. I mean, you've got, way on one hand, you've got pornography, and you've got media, and you've got portrayals and stuff like that's way on one side. On the other side, you've got way religious, that it's like, no, you can't think about sex, or you can't talk about sex, or you can't do anything. And they're so blown apart from each other, when the reality is sex is beautiful. It is the culmination in a marriage of coming together. Now, how do we get to the point that we can talk about it? We take very, very small steps. You begin by just opening the conversation. That's why my book starts with the definition of intimacy and sex. As people read this, it's made to begin to ask questions of each other, so that you can begin to understand what your spouse is getting out of your personal time together versus just you. And I think that can't be overstated how important that is.
In the book, you talk about healing marriages. Talk to us about how intimacy can help be a source of healing.
Thank you for that. That's a very, very important thing to know. Intimacy is helping couples to come closer together. Okay. In the book, there's a quote from a sex therapist, and it's a male sex therapist. And he says succinctly, because I don't have the exact quote, he says that men and women are different. We just are. And that's beautiful. We're supposed to be different from one another. But in terms of the sexual interaction, he makes the statement that men will become more intimate after sex. It means that they will talk and have more emotional feelings themselves after the sex happens. Women are more likely to need that intimacy before they will allow sex to occur. Very, very different. And if we can understand that, then we as men can be all like, okay, well, then I need to date my wife. I need to tell her how important she is to me, and allow that process to start to move forward. Once we get to that point, and then women can understand, hey, as we have these intimate moments together, maybe we can share details after that happens, because he is in an emotional state that we can begin to talk.
Wonderful, wonderful. You have a quote in the book, and I think it's great, how intimacy can, quote, knit their hearts together as one.
Thank you.
And that's very powerful. Tell us about that.
This is what my wife's name is Shani, okay? And I will share this with you very quickly. This is a picture of my sweet wife. She's not with us today because she passed away of cancer just 4 years ago.
Very sorry.
She was so passionate about this topic that she was working on this book up until the month before she passed away. Very, very sick at that point, but it was so important to her. She helped me with every step of this process. So I want people to know and to understand, this is not just a guy's perspective. This is not just me writing a book about sex. This is a couple's perspective. She was my very first editor. She went through line by line by line and said, Sam, no, you can't say it this way. You're going to have women reading this book. You can't say that. It was pretty funny. But she would change that and modify those words, those halting words that I had, and make the book beautiful. And then she did, with her beautiful artistic ability, she was able to go through and add illustrations into the book. She just an amazing, amazing person. But what we found as we began this process, and we were very slow at it because we were finding bits of information year after year after year. And as we did, and as we talked about it and communicated, our relationship changed. And it's kind of like a spiral staircase. Mm-hmm. If every couple is standing on a spiral staircase, you're either way high up here and your relationship is very, very good, or you're down lower. It really Logan, it doesn't really matter where you are on the staircase. People get worried about, oh, my relationship way up here, or is it down there? Don't worry about that. What you want is progression. You want to be moving forward in your relationship. So no matter where you start, even people that have a really, really good relationship, like me and my wife had, all of a sudden, as you begin to do that, you ascend the staircase higher, and your unity begins to become more knitted together. If you can talk and communicate with your spouse about sex and intimacy, you can talk about anything. You can talk about finances. You can talk about problems with the kids. You can talk about anything that you need, because you have a trusted person. If you can talk with them about sex, which is very, very, very personal, you know that you can trust them with anything. There's a beautiful, and I didn't even find this until after I wrote the book. The book was completed. But in First John in the Bible, First John chapter 4, verse 18, it says, perfect love casteth out fear. Now, it's a beautiful concept, because fear is the basis of everything that Satan is trying to do in our society or with individuals. Fear is the basis of anxiety. Anxiety is just the fear that you're going to do something wrong. Fear is the basis of depression. That's the basis. That's where it comes right down to. I'm never going to be good enough. Fear is the basis of everything. If we can cast fear out of our lives, guess what? Things get better. One of my very first people that I had read the book, I had written the book. I needed feedback. I knew a couple that was struggling in their marriage. They loved each other, but they currently weren't in love with each other. And I invited them to read the book. I sent them over a PDF copy, and they read it. And the wife was always struggling with anxiety. Some months later, we had a conversation, and she said, Sam, my anxiety's gone. It's gone. She said, this happened yesterday, and this happened yesterday, and things just went totally berserk. And she's all like, and it didn't matter. It was fine. I was okay. I was able to cope with it. She said, before that, I would have been a wreck. That's the power that intimacy has in marriages. It can change not just the couple, it can change both parts of the couple, the individuals. And together they can be stronger than they ever were apart.
Wonderful words, great advice to leave the folks at home with. The name of the book is Living Endless Love. It is a book that provides couples with a thoughtful, researched guide to understanding the role of intimacy in strengthening the marital bond. It's a terrific book. It will help you get connected to your partner once again on multi-levels. First and foremost, a human spiritual connection, of course. Sam, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you. This is a wonderful opportunity. Thank you, Logan.
I appreciate your time and your insight. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time, this time until next time on Spotlight.